Welcome back to 32 Ways to Connect. I'm Mary. We're on day 17, and today's word is communicate. So, opening the question, how am I communicating with my life, with the world, with my sense of source, spirit, God, goddess? How am I in a communication with that level of life? How am I in communication with my loved ones, with friends, coworkers, so other people? How am I in communication with myself? How do I talk to myself? When we start to break this down, sometimes we may notice one area may feel more clear for us than another, or we may also notice we're doing the same thing in all three areas. So there may be a root thing, whether it's fear or distrust, or it could be joy, love, that is finding its way through all three of those tiers that we're in connection to. So there's a couple ways to do this. Going to what the root is of what we notice. Is there an aspect that we want to start cleaning up that we notice in all three of those areas? If it's just in one area, opening to curiosity, what can I do in this particular area of my communication? What needs to be cleaned up? But the main thing is usually cleanup. A lot of times we believe we're communicating in one way in the world, and eventually we start to get feedback that maybe that what we think is happening isn't always true. And life has so many genius ways of giving us feedback when it's important that we recognize that we're potentially being unclear. People may ask questions. People may say, yay, I totally get it, right? I've had the experience where I've been talking and I don't know if you've had this happen. You're talking for a while, and at the end of it, you have this thought like, did anybody understand what I just said? And maybe people are like, oh, yeah. No, I totally got it. I was with you the whole time. I could feel you, right? Sometimes we hear that. Other times we feel like we're being so concise, maybe in a text message. This is where we can normally bust ourselves. We shoot a text message off, and the person receiving the text message totally takes it the wrong way. They insert a different tone, right? Or when we go back and maybe look at the text message and read it from like more of a neutral place or a curious place, we go, oh, whoops, I wasn't actually being clear. Our communication requires our capacity to want to be clear. And whatever that looks like or means, another word for clear is direct or concise. So getting from A to B. I joke with my students that my preference with them is short emails. And this is actually an energy learning practice. Because how much of the time when we're talking or we're writing or we're doing something, we're trying to communicate in our world, and we're throwing in different types of fillers, right? Maybe the question that we have for someone, we could ask it in one quick sentence. Can I borrow the car? Right? And it says, can I borrow the car? I'm so sorry, I need to borrow the car. I'll only ask this one time. You know, this normally doesn't happen to me. I always want all the fillers, right? I understand in our communication, creating more space or words to be loving or supportive. Some zhuzh, right? That sends some love off on the way, right? That could be some reason for a little extra filler, but that has intent. With this message, I also want to be respectful or considerate. But in some of the fillers, where are we trying to control the response of the other person based on how we're saying something, how many words we're using, how long of an explanation we need to go into. Where can we begin saving a lot of time in our life? Holding the intent, I want to be loving or respectful or considerate. I want to be clear. And I'm clear that this is what the question ask message is. And how can that look? How can my communication be as clear as possible? Getting from point A to point B. And I can still hold the other things that I want in the way my communication feels to someone. Okay, it is possible. And where can I begin marking or Xing the unnecessary out? Right. Another way this could look is in ways we want people to feel guilty or bad. Right. So just going back in, reassessing. Please do this from the eyes of love. Okay. When we do this from the eyes of judgment with ourselves, it makes it really harsh. It makes it no fun. And we start to get dodgy. That's not clear either. And it doesn't feel good in our bodies because this is something we've all done. And the more laughter or giggle or sense of humor that you can bring with yourself, the easier this will be. Laughter always returns us back to the heart. It's the virtue, it's the energetic of the heart. It helps us to be more centered in ourselves and to feel good at the same time. So as you start to clean up your own communication, checking in, am I being as clear as possible, or loving or respectful, or whatever it is that you want in that particular moment of communication with someone. And, maybe if there's times where you botch it or you recognize something or you have to go back to clean something up, where can you do so with a light heart, with a sense of humility, and with like this really committed, fun diligence around wanting to get more and more clear in your communication in your life? Can only make things easier. At least have you save a little time shaving off some of those unnecessary sentences. Let's just say that. So you're starting to open to that with a lot of love, a lot of joy, and a good sense of humor. So for the sake of swift, concise communication, I pulled one card and it's hilarious. It's literally the card that means swiftness or rapidness of directing our energy forward. And it's the Eight of Wands. So again, that where can I get more and more clean and clear in my communication with life? Through that direct line. Where am I going? Right? What energy do I want to take with me as I communicate with myself, with other people, and with all of life? So all my love to each one of you. Take what's useful, dismiss what's not. I'll hopefully see you maybe tomorrow for next day's video. All my love. Bye-bye.